So, welcome again to class. It's great to have you here. All right, so I was reading actually about a week ago, and I was reading this story in First Kings, and this was really weird that I got this out of this, but it was talking about these foundations, but they took these stones. It's this crazy story. Anyway, what it made me think of was this. I feel like our team as a whole is very good. Like, you guys are amazing. You're super disciplined. You prep every week. I feel like in general we're pretty good at the peripherals. Like, we prep the parts, we look at the tutorials, we play the numbers on the chart. Does that make sense? But I feel like the foundation isn't there. Like, do we really understand why the chords work, or why the tutorials work, why the things that we do actually take place? Does that make sense? I love you, Dean. Yeah, so I'm pretty pumped. So like, first I was going to do this. I'm going to talk tonight real quick about how I prep for songs, and then I'm going to go into theory of explaining some stuff of why it works. I talk about this all the time. You guys know when I talk, listen first with headphones, right? Then I run the songs at least twice. Well, so when I'm listening with headphones, here's what I'm doing. I try to close. I hope I not fall asleep when I close my eyes, because sometimes I think I have narcolepsy. Anyway, so I'm listening, and I'm trying to listen for, like, well, the feel of the song, structure of the song, but I'm really listening for my part, when I'm in, when I'm out, what I'm doing, and if I notice something that sounds unfamiliar, I'll stop it, rewind it a little bit, keep going, listen through the song once. Second time, so it's a little different if you're a lead keys player or electric one. It's a little different. But if I'm on acoustic or just a rhythm instrument, I'm really going to play along that second time, but without a chart. And if I miss a chord, rewind it, try to figure out with my ear what I did. Does it make sense? Like, oh, that might be a 5. Is that a 5? Yeah, that's a 5. Okay, I got that. Okay, that's a 4. And I'm playing through it, even with some mistakes, it's fine. And if I can't figure it out, I'm like, oh man, if it's like 2 or 3 times and I can't get it, all right, let's pull up the chart. What is it? Okay, let's pull that up. So, and then I'll play through it, put the chart away. Like, don't look at it, don't lean it, it's only for information. Go back, play it again. If I miss it and I have to look at the chart again and can't figure it out, I'll do it. But I don't go in and I don't memorize 6, 4, 1, 5. I don't memorize a progression. I use my ear to listen. Okay, and a lot of you are probably like, that's great, Travis. You have an ear for that. That's great. I really believe everybody in this room can do that. And I'll tell you why. You can tell if a note's wrong, right? You can tell when something sounds bad, and you can tell when something sounds good. That means you have the ability to hear stuff. You wouldn't have not made it through auditions if you couldn't do that. So with that in mind, I really think it all relies on the way you prep. If you prep with a chart, you're going to be stuck to the chart, because you're memorizing numbers instead of listening for sounds. It's like little babies that are trained with perfect pitch. You do have to have a certain chromosome to have perfect pitch, where, like, you can just tell out of the air that it's what key it's in. But that's not what I'm talking about. This isn't perfect pitch. This is just reference. And so babies can be taught, like, just like the alphabet or a color, that this is an F sharp or a G or an A. But I'm not trying to get you to do that. All I want you to be able to, you have really a 1 in 4 chance of getting the chord right. Because usually we're playing 4 chords, right? That's 25% chance of getting it right. And if it didn't work, try another one until you start developing your ear. And so ear training really is the goal. And Brooke can testify to this. I don't know, Brooke, if you want to say anything. Just like, what's it been, like 2 years of really working on it? But, minimum. But she's gotten to where she's prepping without a chart a lot, right? And she can hear the changes. The reason this is important, for vision-wise, Pastor Brandon really wants us to have no charts. And I think just taking them away and trying to memorize stuff is going to be hard. I think the heart of why you want you to do it is so you can really focus on worship. It's not really about looks or stands. It's about so you can engage. And I still think it's tough to engage when you're thinking about numbers. But if you're using your ear, and say somebody goes into a prophetic song, what are you going to do if there's no chart for that? You got to use your ear. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of you guys have that already. But this is something we can always develop, and we're always growing, right? We've never arrived. No, like we're never going to arrive. There's always going to be something to learn. Um, and so, goal in ear training is going to be this. I want you guys over the next month. I want you to try to play every Sunday without memorizing one of the charts, like throw it away. And try to use your ear while you're prepping. I really, you got to start doing that. Just start experimenting. It'll take a little extra time, but what you're going to see is it's actually going to decrease your prep time as the year goes on. And this might be a year process. But if you discipline to it in your prep, you're going to surprise yourself what you can hear. You really will. Right now, you're probably thinking, that's crazy. I can't do it. But you will be able to do it. I promise. And so, all right, so that's the goal for the next month or two. I want you to try, and then we'll revisit it, see where everybody's at. But I want you to try to eliminate one chart every time you're on. Make sense? It can be the simplest one. Hopefully it's a 4-chord song, right? That's the same. Hopefully it's How He Loves. But anyway, I just want to brag on Heather actually right now because this may look impossible. A year ago, Heather's like, playing keys feels impossible. Next Sunday, she's leading from keys. Okay? Because she's been disciplined and worked hard. I think that's pretty awesome, right? So you can do it. But the thing is, we have to give our all to the Lord, and it takes work. It's just, and anyway. So now I'm going to go to one other part of prep before I get into theory is this. So I think back to when I was working on Only King Forever. I was learning that song, and I got to this one part of the tutorial. So when I'm prepping electric guitar, lead guitar, it's different. I don't just sit down and start playing this. I'll listen to the song one time through my headphones. Second time, I'm actually going straight to the tutorial. I want to see exactly how they're playing it, how they're approaching the song, and I'm actually going piece by piece. We got to the bridge of Only King Forever, and it started playing this progression, and it was really weird. And I knew the chart said that this right here was a 2. And I was like, that is so weird. I'm like, what is that chord? I don't even know what that is. And what I usually do when I'm doing a tutorial, I refuse to go past that point until I understand why it works. Does it make sense? Because if I just play it, I don't learn anything. All I'm doing is mimicking what their fingers are doing, and I have no understanding. So what I finally realized was I had to figure out, because really, my guitar teacher taught me that a long time ago when I was 15, that if you memorize the top 2 strings all the way up to the 12th fret, you can play any chord, which is so true. And you can reference so many things. But I sat there and I figured out what notes I'm playing, so I was playing a D, an F, and a C. I was like, well, that doesn't make a chord. Because it should, if it's a D minor, I knew it was supposed to be a D minor, it should have an A in it. And I'm going to tell you why. See, you guys right now are like, that doesn't even make sense. And everybody's like, that's crazy. And I'm going to show you how simple it is in a second. But because I know basic music theory, which I'm going to show you, this is going to help you figure out things. I realized that the D, the F, and then it had a C. The C was a set. So it was actually a D minor set. It didn't have an A. You guys are like, oh my God. It's going to make sense in a minute. But I had to know theory, basic theory, to understand what that was. Does that make sense? It was an inversion. You guys like, Travis, I don't need to know that. You need to know it. And I paid thousands of dollars to learn it. You get it for free, okay? Paid thousands of dollars to go through college and learn theory. And you get it for free, so enjoy. And this is way better. I was talking to Rich. Dude, you would have hated my theory class. It was all paper. It's all notes on the bar. And it didn't even make sense. It didn't make sense till later. I paid for that? And now you can go on YouTube and learn it all? Anyway, so now we need to understand how to build a chord, okay? It's time to build a chord. Let's build it. Let's build it now. Anybody know Word World? Nobody. Gosh, how old are your kids? Either past the point of Word World, PBS, anybody? Sesame Street, anybody? Oh, thank you. Amen, sister. Sesame Street. Yeah, I love it. But Word World, just go on PBS and look at it. All right, Word World. They sing this song, it's time to build a word, let's build it now. And all the characters are built out of words, letters, and You ever seen that, Word World? It's pretty great. All right, so everybody listening, do I still have your attention? We went out of prep world, we're going to theory world. Is everybody ready to go to theory world? Let's jump in the bus. All right. Woo! Need some crowd participation. You guys are so dry. I need your help. All right, so it's going to start with a magic formula. Are you guys ready to learn the magic formula, the magic potion of how a major key works? Woo! I'm so pumped. Okay, so you can write this down. W, J-D. Huh? No. What would Julian do? What would Julian do? That's exactly what I want to know. This is so great. Okay. Then we have an H. Holy. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, then you got a W, but this one's going to have a big circle around it, okay? Then you got another W, another George W, and an H, okay? So, this is, do you guys know what a whole step and a half step is? The non-musicians are like, oh my gosh, this is torture. It's so fun. Okay, let's come here on the piano. Right here. Yeah, so shut up. The snoring, Kelly. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay, ready? Yeah, all right. So this is middle C, right? Or is that middle C? I don't know. All right, so this is a C note. I'm so sorry. I'll go really slow. All right, that is a C. If you go up right here to this C sharp, that is a half step. If I go from C to D, that's a whole step. That means there's a note in between, right? So a half step or whole step, does everybody have that? It is very important. If you don't understand that, we need to review. So a half step is there's no space in between the note. A whole step, there's one in between. So right there, C to D. All right, watch this. Now, so a whole step. So if we start on, we're doing a C scale. And let's write out the alphabet together. Do we know the alphabet? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then we're back to C, right? In our world, we know this is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Right? If we're in the key of C? All right. Those are the chord names we use, but it's also the scale. So instead of going do, re, mi, fa, sol, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Right? Okay? All right, here we go. So, now, watch this. So, from C to D is this. Whole step. Because right here, C to D, because your scale doesn't get, it goes C to D, it's your whole step. Now, D to E, nope. It's another whole step. Close though. That's right. I'm glad you're participating. I love this. So C to, so there's a note in between. Second one, there's a whole step, a note in between to E. Now to get to F, do you see a note in between these two? No. So E to F is a half step, right? So we got that. That works. Okay. Now F to G, is that a whole step? Yes. Okay. Right there it is, because there's a note in between. So just to let you know, I'm going to write it on our keyboard. Just kidding. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. It's all lined out in the key of C. So all right. So we're on F. We did G. Okay. Now from G to A, is that a whole step? Okay. All right. So there's the A note. Now A to B, is that a whole step? Okay. Now B to C, is that a whole step or a half step? Half step. So in C, it all just lays right out there. All right. I'm going to come back to this. Sharps and flats, we'll add that later when you go to the black keys and stuff. Okay. But basic music theory. This means if we're in the key of C, these are the notes we have to work with if we're in C major, okay? Now watch this. This is where it gets really fun to me. So your one chord, here's how you build it. You just gotta make a little bridge. Boom, boom. You connect every other letter, okay? So all I did was this. C, E, G. Is that cool? Now watch this. So for the 2 chord, all we got to do is connect these and skip another letter. I know that's messy, but D, F, A. Let's try it. D, F, A. There's your 2 chord right there. How simple is that, even if you don't play keyboard? right? So you're literally, you've probably seen this, right? You just go up, right? So naturally, what happens is, so if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. It makes this, as we already know, this is a major chord. Naturally, this one's minor, that one's minor, that one's major, major, minor, and this one is diminished, okay? But that all the reason that happens is because of the way it lays out. D naturally turns into a minor chord because of the scale. Does everybody get that? I don't know if you knew that before, why chords fit together.
Spaces in between the notes.
And spaces in between the notes. Now watch this, this is really cool. So, watch this. So when I talked about that D minor 7 a minute ago, remember I talked about the D minor? So let's go, let's make that again. So we got D, and I need to wipe this off. It's getting messy. All right, so this is so fun, man. I love this stuff. I geek out on it. All right, so how do we build our D chord? D, F, A. What happens if we go another hump? What happens? Then we add a 7. And there's that D minor 7. I was playing with the Only King Forever. I just took this note out, which was the 5th of the chord. See, 1, 3, 5, 7. So that's why that worked. So watch. I want D, F, A, C. C is the 7th. Make sense? And then all I did on Only King Forever was taking that note out right there. So it's notes. So anyway, that's basically how a chord is built, okay? So the thing to remember is this. You've got, it's parallel on both sides. Whole step, half step, magical whole step link in the middle. Whole step, half step. So now what we're going to do, let's try a different key, okay? So I don't play keyboard. I'm learning, but I'm going to pick a key I don't usually play. And let's pick the key of E, okay? So let's write out the alphabet. E. Let's do this. Are you guys tracking with me? Yes. I promise, like, especially vocalists, guys, you vocalists, people at Gateway, even in the choir, understand this stuff. They have to learn this stuff so they can play at home, like figure out the chord, and they actually, like, instead of do, re, mi, they actually have lyric charts that have the number of the note that you're singing. Like the harmony parts are listed out in numbers over each part of the word. It's really cool. So like if it was singing like, I don't know, but it just has the numbers over it. It's really cool. You have to know this to understand that. Okay, so let's go key of E. Let's start with the alphabet. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. There we go. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4. Okay. Now, let's use our magical formula and figure out, because in the key of E, we know that there's got to be some black keys in there. It's not like the key of C where it just goes here to here, all white keys. Okay? So there are some black keys in there. These are the sharps and flats. Okay? When you play the black keys. All right. Great camera transition. Stellar. Okay, so let's plug this formula in. So let's go from E right here. All right, right there. Sorry, not your other E. All right. So we need a whole step, right? We need a whole step from E to F. But the problem is, from E to F is a half step, isn't it? Like Jaws. That's ear training. Jaws is a half step. Yeah, you know that. Okay. So instead of that, we need to make F sharp to fit the formula, don't we? So in the key of E, F must be sharp. So let's change that. Put a little Sharpie symbol. Okay. Now, from F sharp to G. Oh, that's a half step. So what do we need to do? G sharp. So we need to go make it sharp. So G must be sharp, okay? Now, G sharp to A. Oh, that's got to be a half step, right? So that works. We can leave that one B, okay? Now, A to B, is that a whole step? Huh? So where do we at? E. Right? A to B is a whole step because there's the note in between. Okay? We're good there? Now, B to C. No? We need that extra, we need that note in the middle. So C is going to be sharp as well. Man, it's a bunch. Okay? So we got that. Now C sharp to D, is that a whole step? D sharp, right? We need that, because that's, we got to put the note in between, all right? There's D sharp. So now we got that one good. And then D sharp to E is a half step, I believe, right? There you go. And then you can do what Pastor Aaron calls the do-re-mi test. So, like, now we know why it works because of the magic formula, right? That's why the thing works, but then you can always do the do-re-mi test. So, that's not it, right? Right? Now, let's go to the key of E. So, what's the 4 chord in the key of E? Huh? A what? A major? And how is A built? So 4 chord would be A, C sharp, and E, right? Let's see if we can build a chord. It's time to build a chord. Let's build it now. So, okay, so there's A, C sharp, E. Boom. There it is. You built your 4 chord. Let's build a 5 chord. What's a B chord? So, how do you build a B? B, let's write it out. B, D sharp, and then what? F sharp. Okay. All right. So, B, D sharp, F sharp. Okay, let's try it. I'm not very good at this. B, is that D sharp? There's F sharp. There it is. Wow. There you go. You got a chord. Okay. So, and those were both major, right? Now, let's do this. Let's do something here. Hold up. Race here. Everybody's kind of got that? Does that make basic sense? Now I'm going to show you something else. This is like, this doesn't really have to do as, well, it kind of works with keys, but, do you guys know why a chord is a suspension, or why it's a minor, or why it is? Okay. So, let's go back to key of C. Let's go back to C, D, E, F, G, A, E. Okay. Watch this. So, let's build a C chord, right? We're building our first chord, C, E, G. Okay? Right there, C, E, G. What happens if I take this middle note, which would be called the third of the chord? You know why it's called the third? There, right? And even if it's up here, though, if I'm playing this chord, there's still a third in the middle. You call those thirds and fifths, okay? So even if I'm up here playing an F chord, even though I'm playing an A note in there, which is the sixth of the key, it's still a third because it's the middle note. Does that make sense? First, third, fifth. You're going to hear that. So, all right, let's go back to C. What happens if I move this third up a half step? Suspended. So it's not a sustained. I know I hear people say that on the internet and stuff. It's not sustained. Sustained is something that carries on. Suspension is what that is. So when you take the third of a chord and you move it up a half step, it becomes a suspension. If you move it down a half step, watch this. It becomes a minor chord. The third is what determines if a chord is minor or major. Make sense? So on guitar, it relates like this. So if you're playing a C like this, which is like an A shape, if I'm playing a C there, if I move this note up, which is the third, it becomes a sus. If I move that note back a half step, it becomes a minor. Does that make sense? So that is why that works. Now, if you want to, like, we're hardly ever going to use diminished and augmented chords, but that all has to do with the fifth. So if you have a major chord right here, and you move the fifth up a half step, there's your augmented. If you want a diminished chord, it has to be minor first. So what do we do to get a minor chord? Drop the third, and then you lower the fifth a half step. There's your diminished chord. So, which falls naturally on the seventh chord. Okay? So, don't get lost. That is pointless. But what's up? Yeah.
Are you saying that diminishes and minors basically always go together?
No. Well, it has to be minor first before it's diminished. Like the third has to be a half step down, and then the fifth is a half step down. Does that make sense? So, but all right. So relating some of this to guitar. Me and Richie were talking about this the other day. So he's like, so when I'm playing a G chord, what am I playing? Like, I feel like I know there's like a G and a D in there, but it feels like there's a couple extra. Well, let's figure it out. So you got a G here, right? So let's start with our G down here. Then we got a B right here. Then you've got a D. G, B, D, right there. What's the next one? You got a G again right here. So a G, B, D. There's another G. Then you have another D and another G. So all you're doing on a guitar is you're just layering some notes there, right? So G, B, D, G. I can't do this with one hand. And then another D and another G. So basically that's what's happening on a guitar. Does that make sense? You're playing 6 notes. Does that make sense? So, and that's good form, I'm sorry. So that's the kind of stuff that's happening. And then sometimes you guys see like what's called like they call it a C add 9 or a C2. Like you got this instead of your regular C, you're adding this note in here, which is a D. So that's like when we were talking about sus's a minute ago. Let's say we're playing a C. That's a C regular chord. If you take that third out and just make it, instead of going a half step down, which would make it minor, go a whole step down, play the 2. That's like a second chord, or people call it add 9. I like to call them a 2 because usually after you've added, this is way too intense. Never mind, I'll go back. Once you add a 7th, it becomes a 9. So anyway, you can get a nice soft sound, and a 2 chord when you don't have the third in there can be neither major nor minor. It's like kind of like a neutral chord. Does that make sense? So and it sounds really nice when you're playing. I mean, it can sound really really nice. You see how you can just move around? Dude, when you play in the key, all you got to know is the notes, and you can play anything because they all work in some form or fashion. So, okay. Now, what was I going to talk about? That was the main stuff. Has everybody got the formula? Do we got this? What time is it?
34.
Okay, questions. Let's talk questions then. It's question time. See, I want to tell you why this is great to me. So today, I was in the sanctuary. I was prepping for this, and I heard a Chris McClarney song come on. And I sat there and used my ear, and I figured out the bass note. That's what I always do to figure out what chord it is. If you guys are trying to figure out at home when you're listening, I listen for the bass note first, because that's usually the root of the chord. Sometimes it's going to be, do you guys know what an inversion is? So like if I've got a C chord, and I'm playing a C for the bass right here, I can actually take that E and put the E in the bass, and it'll sound completely different, even though it's the same chord. Same notes, different order. And I can actually put this note here on the bottom, and it'll sound even different. Hear that? Or I can even take this right here, this what's that, a G? And put it down here. Hear how it sounds different, but it's all C. But that's what you'll see when you guys are playing on the chart and you see 1/3. That means the bass guitar is playing the 3 over the 1 chord, which would be E over a C. Does that make sense? It just makes inversions make it feel different. So when you're playing the third of a chord, is that the first inversion, Brooke? The second inversion. First inversion is when you play the third in the bass. Second inversion is when it's 5th, right? So that's what that is. All right. Where was I going with that? I got lost. Relevance, yes. So that's back. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, so I was sitting in here, and this Chris McClarney song came on, and I was like, man, this is great. And so I dinked around a second and found one of the notes, which happened to be a B flat, which I've never played in B flat in my life. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. And then I heard the next chord was like an E, and then it went to something else, like an F, and then like to a D sharp. And I was like, man, I don't know any of these chords. But I used my theory. I started thinking about the formula and how this fits. So it was like the first chord, figured out that it was right there. It was a B flat. It was major. So I did my notes in between. And then I went down. What was the next chord? I think it might have actually been F next. So I was like, okay, where's that at? It was that. And I had to figure out this chord because I'd never played it before. But I used the formula. played that, and then went up to this chord, which was kind of cool. But that wasn't it. But anyway, so like, but I was able to sit here for about 5 minutes and figure out a song because I figured out the bass notes and then used the formula to figure out what the notes actually are. Does that make sense? So, I know that's probably over some of your heads, but like, use your ears. So that's what I'm saying is, go home, when you practice, take time and don't go straight to your chart. Like, and if it's a tutorial, figure out why it works. Is it an inversion on keys? Is that why they're playing it a certain way? What chord are they actually building? And why does it work with the notes that are in the key? And it might take a little extra time right now, but it's gonna take you a long way in the future, especially, I'm telling you, when we start flowing, you wanna be able to use your ear. And you wanna understand what notes are in a key, or what chords are in a key. And it's gonna be really valuable. So, okay, questions, any questions?
A comment.
Yes, sir.
On chord building. Vocalists, this is how you figure out harmonies very easily. When you know, okay, you've got chords that are built on a third or a five, you may have a seven or something, that's where you find your harmonies. And so for vocalists as well as a guitar player, that's instrumental in finding parts.
Instrumental.
Instrumental.
I love it. Thank you, Dean.
I have a question about
Yes, sir.
that. Is the harmony in vocalists, would that be on the third or the fifth?
Most of the time. Now, there's times you're going to sing like there's a C major chord. Sometimes they might sing the second. Or sometimes they, like, watch this. So on a C, certain chords, that's a major 7. And there's a minor 7 on the D. It depends, but it's going to usually fall in one of those notes. But sometimes it could be a second or something borrowed from another chord. There's a lot more deep stuff that you can get into that's really complicated, borrowing chords from other keys. But basic music, major key, this is it. Good question, though. Yeah. But honestly, I use my ear, and then sometimes if I got to dink it out and do it. So, comments, questions? I appreciate you coming to Music Theory 101. Very fun. And if you have questions, there is one guy, dude, it's hilarious. If you want the link, there's a guy that does a whole hour video with this. That's where I actually got the whole step link, because I was taught without this, and it's so much harder to remember. Like, it's easier when it's the same on both sides of the W, you know? But he is hilarious. Like, it's a whiteboard. If you look up Music Theory 101 on YouTube, and it's a guy with just a whiteboard. You never see him, and he's hilarious. Like, encourage you to watch it. So good. Really funny. So, cool. You guys good then? We'll just take a short break. We'll come back for Devo in about 10. Sound good? Ready? Break. Thank you, guys.